Hey guys, this is John Siebert with Roadside Reviews, episode 6 to be specific, and today we're out here at our super secret location for filming. I bet you can't guess which vehicle we're taking a look at today, but I will give you a hint. It rhymes with Sonata. That's right guys, we're taking a look at the all-new 2021 Hyundai Sonata. Now the Sonata comes in 4 different trim levels, but today we're taking a look at the bad boy, the Limited, loaded to the gills. Now the first thing that you're going to notice about this car is unique styling. While the SUV market right now is really taking over, this car is holding its own, especially in the mid-size car segment. I want to be able to show you the reasoning why. You know, one of the first things you're going to see is the very unique front end of this vehicle. Still with the same Hyundai tradition, the big Hyundai badge located right in the middle, this nice glossy black honeycomb grille, wraparound LED headlights. You do also have a very cool feature, which is integrated daytime running lights in through this aluminum strip. Something very, very handsome, adds a nice appeal to the vehicle and something you don't see on any other different cars. This vehicle has done such a great job with its styling cues that they're incorporating it into other Hyundai sedans, such as the all-new 2021 Hyundai Elantra. In the front, you can also be able to see where you have your radar cruise control located right here, but then also your front-facing camera. Now that's going to go in with your backing up, your 360-degree view, or even looking forward when you're parking, and we'll go over some of those features here in a little bit. You have a lot of functionality down here as far as cooling and air dams, and also some cosmetics as well. But everything up here is for a purpose, whether it's a design, whether it's to be able to keep the engine cool, or to be able to help improve aerodynamics, especially on a vehicle like this. Now motors, everybody wants to be able to know what's underneath the hood. Can it be able to get up and go? You have 2 different options. You do have a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, which is going to be in some of the lower trim levels, but this Limited comes with the 1.6-liter turbocharged engine. Now, having a smaller engine with a turbocharger, less displacement, is also going to help improve power, but also reduce emissions and subsequently help improve fuel mileage too. And having that same engine across a broad band, of the Hyundai platform, the different vehicles such as the Kona and the Veloster N, and even into some of our other sister companies, is going to help keep costs down, maintenance down, being able to find parts later on down the road. So very tried and true tested engine, tons of power, more than adequate to be able to get you up and go and get your heart racing if you want to. Now, coming along over onto this side, with the Limited, you do also get your 18-inch aluminum alloy wheels. They do have the machine finish at the front, and then the dark gray back set really sets off the design of this car. These 18-inch wheels are wrapped in Pirelli P0 tires, which are going to be all-weather, all-season, great on-road tires, very, very little noise, very, very comfortable ride. But having that P0 tire is also going to give you great aggressive handling. So if you're going through the hill country, you want to get your heart going a little bit, you don't have to worry about loose handling. It's going to stick you to the ground and stay planted as possible, giving you the best of both worlds. Now coming down through this side, you can see that that one same body line that starts right up there by the front headlight is going to carry over all the way over to the rear, very indicative of the Hyundai models. You'll see that you do have your chrome and painted door handles to be able to match, integrated turn signals into your mirrors, and also another camera for your 360-degree view. So you're going to have 4 of them total, one in the front, one under each mirror, then one into the back of the vehicle. Coming along back from here, following this body line, you can be able to see the entirely new redesigned rear end for this car. Has that nice classic pinch right above onto the top of the trunk lid, really setting it apart from a lot of the other different competitors out there, especially in the mid-size market. When you're competing against mid-size SUVs, which are dominating the market right now, you really need to have a sedan that's going to be able to stand out. Now, just like with an SUV, you have different ways to get into it. You can be able to hit the button on the key to be able to get into the trunk, be able to press a button on the inside. Hyundai really wanted to be able to make sure that they kind of hide everything and keep it as simple as possible. So located right here within your Hyundai emblem is going to be your trunk pop. So by simply pressing the button right here, that's it. So no tacky button, nothing sitting out there, nothing to be able to ruin the design. And tons of storage space. Remember, they used to be able to say in the old mafia movies, it can be able to hold a couple rugs back there if they need to be able to get something moved. Well, obviously you'd be able to have the space to move a couple rugs if you need to. And these seats are fold flat. So you have a 60/40. They are going to be manual, so by pulling either of these levers up here onto the top, you can lay down one side of the seat or the other to be able to carry a little bit of a larger load, while still having passengers in the rear if you only want to lay down one side. All your other equipment and storage is going to be located right here underneath the trunk bin. You can see that you have your jack, spare tire tools, and also a space saver tire. Why do manufacturers use space saver tires? Well, there's a pretty easy question for that. One is weight, two is space, but then three is this tire can still be able to get you going where you need to go, up to 55 miles an hour, but it's also an encouragement to make sure that you get your tires fixed. You have a rim and tire that match exactly like the ones that you have on the car. You throw the old one back here, life happens, you get busy, go down the same stretch of road where there's a box of nails that was dropped, hit another nail, get another flat tire, now you don't have one. So that's really another big reason why they wanted to go to the space savers, but be able to keep you with your space, weight of the vehicle, and then to encourage you to fix any repairs to your tires that you have on the car. Now, into the back you can see with the styling, all LED tail lights. I love how they wrap around up into the top of this classic pinched in on the top of the trunk lid, then also across the entire trunk lid. Now you do have the limited, so you are going to have the badging for that, and the upgraded motor, the 1.6T, so everyone's going to know that you have that as well. You do have 6 sonar sensors for the rear backup system. 2 are going to be on the outside parts of the bumper, 4 behind it, along with your backup camera located right here. Being high up on the trunk lid, it's going to be able to give you maximum visibility while you're backing up. And once we get inside and actually show you that system, how seamless and how well it actually works. Now, another great feature to be able to point out is going to be with the new key fob for the limited Sonata. Same operations we've seen on a lot of other cars. You have your lock, unlock, your trunk pop, panic button, we've gone over that a couple times, a auto start, which is press your lock button once, press this button, car is now started. Very simple too, since it has automatic climate control. If it's hot outside, it's going to cool down the interior of the cabin, have the air conditioning going as hard and as quickly as it possibly can. If it's cold outside, it's going to turn on the heater and warm up the interior of the vehicle. Now, let's say you're in a tight parking spot. You're parking downtown in a parking garage, or you live in a condominium building, and you need to be able to get your vehicle in, but if you're someone of my size and stature, you don't have that much space to be able to get in and out. So with either of these 2 buttons right here, you can be able to either back up the car while using sensors such as the rear backup camera and the sonar system, and then simply get into your car. How cool is that? Yes, it's a little gimmicky, but it will, you are going to use it at some point in time, right? Now you need to get back into the tight parking spot. Simply press and hold the other button, which will then move it forward. Parking brake disengages, vehicle goes into gear. And once you get to your desired spot, let go. Now, John, isn't this going to hit another vehicle? Or is it going to run over a pedestrian? No. The safety systems use the sonar system along with the camera, so if it detects an object in front of it, the vehicle will automatically stop. If it detects an object coming from the side, it'll help be able to steer or come to a stop to be able to prevent any collisions. This is just simply to be able to pull your vehicle in and out of parking spots as easily as possible with minimizing any door dings or anything like that. Plus, it's a cool feature to show off to your friends. And once done, all you have to be able to do is turn the vehicle off and be able to go from there. Besides a Tesla, I'd like to be able to see if you could find a vehicle for under $40,000 that has that same feature. I dare you to, because I don't think you'll be able to find one. Now, let's take a look at the inside. Just as you saw with the exterior appointments, the interior is going to be just as classy. Nothing was spared with the construction of this car. Everything from the leather and perforated seats that are also heated and cooled, to the Bose sound system, which is acoustically matched to this vehicle, to the 8-way power driver seat with lumbar support, electric assist steering wheel, and all the layout of the gauges. Everything's soft touch, very, very comfortable. A lot of sound deadening material to be able to help remove noises while you're driving inside the vehicle, because you don't want to be going down I-10 hearing a lot of noise or the dump trucks going back by you. It's just really designed to be a very, very, very comfortable driver's car. If you're going on a 1,000-mile road trip, this would be the vehicle right now today that I'd want to hop in and be able to go. Now, looking at the driver door, you have everything from your power windows, door locks, mirror controls, pretty standard stuff. Up at the top, you do have a two-way driver memory seat. So that's going to go ahead and save your mirror positions, but also seat positions. So two different drivers can be able to get in, hit the buttons, and it'll return back to their settings. So no more having to, sit there for a half a minute and try to be able to get your mirror positions exactly where you want it. If your significant other or friend was driving the vehicle, hit one button, takes about 10 seconds, everything moves back to where it should be. You do have storage located down below, not a whole lot, but you still have a spot for, like, let's say a Yeti thermos or a larger cup down at the bottom. Driving gloves if you have those as well, or just any other little odds and ends that you want to be able to store. Did you hear that? That's solid. Now that tinny noise that you hear from other different manufacturers, this car is built solid. Like I mentioned before, all the sound deadening material that goes into it, it really adds to the feel, the craftsmanship of this vehicle. Now it does have the push button start, so let's go ahead and get started because it is November in South Texas, so it does feel like 100 degrees. So have your foot on the brake, key inside the vehicle, press your start button once, and you're good to go. Now we already kind of went over all the controls over here on the driver's door, but over here above the left knee, you have all your controls for your dash as far as the brightness, your trunk release button, traction control, just in case you want to get a little squirrely out on the roads. But then also the other big one is going to be your electric parking brake. In order to be able to engage that parking brake, simply pull the switch back. The light will come on letting you know that it's engaged. To be able to release the parking brake, put your foot on the brake and then push the button forward. Just as simple as that. Now it also does work too. If you're parked up on a hill and you have the auto hold going, if you take your foot off the brake, the parking brake will engage until you hit the gas to make sure that your vehicle doesn't roll backwards at all as well. Now this Sonata does have a fully digital dash display. Can you remember which other vehicle we reviewed that had that? That's right, the Hyundai Palisade. Same layout as well. So very simple to be able to look at, that you have your speedometer, your RPMs, fuel gauge, temperature gauge, distance till empty, your odometer, how many miles you're on it. I like this too because it adds to the characteristics of the car. Not only does it give you your exterior temperature, but it also tells you what the weather's like outside. Right now it says it's mostly sunny. On our way over here it actually said sunny, and as cheesy as it sounds, it kind of put a smile on my face. Everything on the steering wheel is perfectly laid out. Nice thick leather wrapped steering wheel, something indicative of a luxury car or a sports car, something you see in German design. Everything from your windshield wipers to your blinkers, once again right within fingertips reach. All your Bluetooth and radio controls are going to be located right here on the left side of your steering wheel. So for your voice command for your Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, all located over here, but also be able to switch through your modes of your radio, so XM satellite radio to MP3 to Bluetooth to Apple CarPlay, whatever it may be. You can be able to scroll through all those along with your volume knobs, and then of course your selectors to go up and down in tracks. On this side you have all your cruise controls and information. Now with this, be able to set, resume, cruise control, fairly simple. This button right here at the car with the lines in front of it will actually be able to set the distance as far as how closely you want that vehicle, your vehicle, to follow the one in front of it. Now you have your page button here, which is going to go through all your different displays that you have on the center of your console. So right now, we just have the traditional one. You can see the Sonata sitting right in the center, looking down the road. Hit that one more time, you can see off to the side, you have your average mile per gallon, average mile per hour. There, your compass, if you were to have any navigation plugged into it, it'd be able to let you know you need to be taking a left-hand turn in 0.75 miles. So it's still going to be able to give you that kind of like door-to-door guidance, just the reminders right here on your screen. But everything from your fuel mileage to safety features, deactivating those, trip computers, even like I said for your timers. So if you've been driving for a long time, this car will give you a reminder like, hey, maybe it's time to be able to pull over, be able to get a little bit of rest, maybe be able to get something to eat, a cup of coffee, whatever it may be. Everything else from your tires, your tire pressure. So whether you have low tire pressure, it'll specifically tell you which one and then how much PSI is in each one as well. And then of course your driving modes and how you're actually driving the vehicle. Let's say you want to make a game out of hypermiling. You want to get the best gas mileage you possibly can. You have a display here that's going to be able to tell you how efficiently you're driving based off of how you're using the accelerator. Sounds kind of corny, but actually it's a lot of fun, especially if you're on a road trip, to be able to get the best fuel mileage you possibly can. Now, just like with the Palisade, we do have our blind spot monitoring built into both of the mirrors. So you do have a little emblem on the outside that'll light up when a vehicle gets into your blind spot. Once that happens, if a vehicle is in your blind spot and you were to be able to turn on your blinker, you would hear a chime and the vehicle would let you know. But going one step further, once you apply the blinker, as you saw in the very beginning of our video, it's going to display exactly what's behind you in that lane. Awesome technology. Once again, this is something that you're finding on a car that costs less than $40,000 and that you'd see on something like, let's say, like a Bentley or Mercedes or BMW. Really, really amazing technology. And since they've really pioneered this, they can make it extremely affordable and be able to offer it in cars in this price point. Now, coming up to the top, you do have a panoramic sunroof, and look how fast that shade moves from the front to the rear, so all passengers do have a view. And then also, the sunroof does go up and retract over to the rear, giving quite a bit of open space. You do have a wind buffer up here, so when the sunroof is open, it's not going to be crazy noisy or papers aren't going to be flying around, so you can still be able to enjoy it without your hair blowing everywhere. I really don't have that problem. But then just keeping the ambient noise inside the vehicle to a minimum. Once again, one touch to be able to close that. And then one more. And then, what, about 6 seconds? That's amazing for one about this size. Map lights. Very typical. You do also have your Hyundai Blue Link and SOS buttons located right up here into the top. Auto dimming rearview mirror with the home link controls. We've talked about that, but we'll go into it a little bit more. If you live in a apartment complex with a gated neighborhood, your office, even if you have light switches from home link installed at your house, you can be able to program all those clickers in here. So once again, when you pull up to your gate at your neighborhood or apartment complex, hit the button once, you don't have to go fumble for a clicker. Open up your garage door. If you have the lights from HomeLink built into your house, you can be able to hit that button, whichever ones you have selected, whether you're turning on interior or exterior lighting, so you're walking into a well-lit home late at night as well. Great feature to be able to have. Coming down here to the dash, you can see tremendous amount of visibility. Everything from the materials that they use to be able to help reduce the glare, and this is a very, very, very bright day, and barely being able to see any reflection whatsoever across the dashboard. Really a true testament as far as how well they looked into that, making sure that you get the best amount of visibility. But also just the shape of the windshield as well, making sure that you have the most amount. Everything from your A pillars right here, being nice and slim without having to reduce any structural rigidity, all the way from these side windows right up here, making sure that you can see the most possible. Now this vehicle does have the heads-up display, which is going to be typical in a lot of cars in this price point and also in the Hyundai brand. But it's going to display everything from your current speed, whether you have a vehicle in your blind spot, if you have the lane keep assist on if you're drifting out of a lane, but then also is going to be integrated in with your navigation too, to be able to give you cues of when you're supposed to be moving over, and then of course the distance to be able to do so. If you've never driven a car with a heads-up display, you're never going to know how you lived without it before. Phenomenal feature to be able to have. Very simple and easy to use. Keeps your eyes on the road in front of you without having to keep looking back down to be able to get any information. Now let's take a look at the navigation/radio. You can see it's broken up into 3 different spots right now. Navigation, any of your media sources, which are going to be like your radio, Apple CarPlay, satellite radio, AM radio if that's what you like to listen to. And then of course your XM satellite radio, and also for weather. So you have custom ability here as far as what you want to look at. Now if you want to be able to select any one feature, simply click on that. Now this whole screen goes just to that. And you see how quick and snappy that is? Very, very quick responding. Now you do also have traditional buttons located right here out on the side. Well, they're not traditional. They're going to be sensory buttons, but you can be able to flip in between any of these controls by simply holding your finger right over any one of those buttons located there. So everything from your sound to advanced settings, all going to be underneath your setup menu, but everything's very intuitive, very easy to be able to use. Let's say you're looking at your map, but you want to be able to see something else. by flipping up this little button over here onto the side, now you have your map and then your current media. And you can change those too. So whatever little icon you want off to the side, you can be able to have. And then if you want to get rid of that, simply press that button again and it goes back to full screen. And yes, you still do have a traditional knob to be able to control the volume or turn the radio on and off as well. Getting down below, you can see you have this beautiful black piano finish that's going to be through the center console of the car. But with the Limited, you do have dual automatic climate control. So driver and passenger can be able to adjust their temperatures. So these two vents are going to be for the driver, those two vents will be for the passenger. Right now it's synced, so no matter where the air conditioning is on the driver's side, the passenger will follow too, cooling the cabin or heating the cabin to that temperature. Now let's say that you want to be able to adjust it on the passenger side, simply by turning that knob. Those two vents will then come out at 75 while the drivers are coming out at 65. Now being the automatic part of it is it'll be able to determine where the air is going, but then also at which speed to be able to make sure it maintains those temperatures for the occupants. Now in here you're going to see is a little bit different is now all your other seat controls for your heated and cooled seats. This does have 3-level heated seats and also 3-level cooled seats for the front driver and passenger. Now these aren't just cooled seats, where it has the ventilation, air is being pushed through. You can actually be able to have air that is pushed through the seats to be able to actively cool it as well. And then right here, you can see on the top, a heated steering wheel. In South Texas, sounds kind of cheesy, but those 2 months out of the year, leather gets really, really cold. Be able to come out, turn on the heated steering wheel, and not have to wear a pair of gloves to work until it warms back up. And then these center buttons are just going to control your fan speed and where the air is going, and your front and rear defroster. Now by pressing this button right here, you can be able to set your auto settings, and you can see that it has 3 different ones you can be able to choose. So from full blast to medium to low, but still maintaining the temperature of the car that you have set and then where the air is going to be going. Down underneath that, you still have your power outlet, traditional ones that you see in a lot of cars. A lot of people like that. So if you have a different sort of power outlet or want to be able to plug in a radar detector or anything else, you still have the option to be able to use the old school 12 volts. Your 2 USB charging ports and also your wireless charging for your smartphones, located right here into the center. Just like with the Palisade, you do have a push button transmission. So from park to reverse, neutral, and then drive. So there are some safety features built into it that you can't be doing 80 miles an hour and be able to hit reverse and the vehicle will then go into reverse. So they've already thought about that. But things such as making sure the vehicle, all the doors are closed before it'll actually go into a gear, making sure the vehicle comes to a stop before you go from reverse into drive. Very elegant, something you see a lot of expensive manufacturers are starting to develop into their vehicles, and once again, something you won't see in a car in this price point. 2 more cup holders with an additional cell phone holder located right here in between. You do have your different drive modes. Other buttons that you have down here. This is to be able to turn on and off your parking sensors. So if you are getting into a tight garage and you don't want to be able to hear that all the time, you can be able to turn those on and off, or even like a drive-through at a CVS pharmacy. Your auto hold, like we talked about before, so if you're up on a hill and you're waiting and you need to be able to take your foot off the brake in order to be able to hit the gas to go, that's what's going to apply the rear brake of the vehicle so you won't roll backwards, and hold it there until you hit the gas again. Now, this is going to be for your camera views, for the rear backup camera, which we're going to touch on right now. You have one in the front bumper of the vehicle, one located on the top of the trunk lid, and then underneath each mirror. So my foot's on the brake. Let's put the vehicle into reverse. Now you're going to see you're going to have 2 different camera views right here. One which is facing directly behind you, in which you do have your lines here to be able to kind of gauge distance of how close you're getting to an object. Of course, red means you're getting pretty close, which you might want to pull out a pen and piece of paper and write somebody a note if you bump their car. And then over here to the right, you can be able to see you have an aerial view of your 360-degree view. And the technology they put in this, look, it's so seamless. So there's no broken areas, there's no pattern, there's nothing missing. So you can be able to see exactly what's around you. The computer does everything to make sure that it's as clear as possible. Switching between different rear camera views, when we go from here, remember how we talked about that camera is located up at the top of the trunk lid? Now you have more of an aerial view of directly what's down underneath the rear of the vehicle. So something you may not see that's below the rear bumper, let's say like a parking stopper, or your kid laid their bike down in the garage, you can be able to see from right there. And then of course this last one, which is going to be using the side mirrors cameras and looking straight down the sides, so if you're getting close in a tight parking spot or parallel parking next to a curb, you can see exactly where your rear tires are sitting. Now let's go ahead and go into drive. Same 360-degree view camera. You can see that we have a view directly in front of us that'll be able to go ahead and show us, how close we're getting to an object. If we go from here, this is giving us our aerial view, but now we have guidance lines. So when we cut the wheel from side to side, it'll actually be able to predict and show you where you're going to be going, so whether you can be able to clear an object or not, or get around a vehicle. Hit this one right here too. Now it's going to be able to show you your two front wheels. Now this is crucial in parallel parking, because if you back into a spot, you keep an eye on your rear wheel, but that front passenger wheel is the one that's always being cut down to the curb. So being able to keep an eye on that is going to keep that pretty finish on your rim without grinding it against a nice curb down on East Houston Street downtown while you're eating at Bohannon's or something like that. Now, once you put the vehicle into park, everything goes right back to where it should be. If you decide that you want to keep driving off from that, after a couple miles per hour, the system will then default back into its normal settings of where you had it before. Now the sound system, we have Bose acoustic surround sound system that is engineered and placed for this car. So no off-the-shelf speakers, everything from the placement to the size of the speakers to the way that they're amplified is made specifically for this car to be able to give you the best recreation of sound quality from the people that made the music or the talk shows that you could be listening to. Now to the back seat, the big test, the big guy test. I'd say I fit very comfortably too. The same seats and patterns that you have in the front follow through the rear. You do have obviously the perforated leather seats with the nice stitching, be able to follow through. Lots of support back here, surprisingly. Everybody goes, like I said, to that mid SUV race for the space and the comfortable aspect, being able to haul around a family or just some friends if you're going on a road trip. I mean, I would take this over an SUV all day long just because of the amount of space that you have. Now back here, the same soft touch finish materials that you have up in the front still do follow through to the rear. You have nice armrests located right here on both the doors. You do also have additional storage netting right here on the back of the passenger seat. Rear AC vents, so those are going to follow off of what the driver temperature is set, but really helps maximize the amount of airflow back here. Another USB power outlet, so if you do have a child back here and wants to charge up and watch their iPad, or somebody's draining out their cell phone battery and wants to be able to charge it, you have an additional power outlet to be able to do so. A little bit of storage compartment right here on both the outside doors with a spot that you can hold a water bottle in. But then, center armrest, so if there's only two people back here, once again, that much more support and comfort with two more cup holders located right in the center. Like I said, this is stuff that you would find in much more expensive sedans. And like I said, I'm not saying this because we're showing the video, but the back seat of this car is probably one of the more comfortable ones that I've sat in years, especially at this price point. The materials are great, everything's solid, everything's very comfortable, everything's placed where it needs to be as far as air conditioning coming from the front to the rear with your rear AC vents, the amount of space that you have back here. And especially when you have the panoramic roof, one place that you see a lot of space is lost is going to be in rear headroom. Me being 6'3", I got tons of it back here. This is a spot that I would want to be on for a road trip for sure. Very, very comfortable. Very, very well laid out. I think they did a phenomenal job on this. Guys, all in all, this car is the complete package. And I mean, even when you take a look at gas mileage, 27 city, 37 freeway, so that gives you a combined 30 miles per gallon. Once again, this is a car that is not a hybrid, has the cost of a hybrid, but then is touching hybrid car fuel economy territory with the 1.6 liter turbocharged engine. I mean, that's just, once again, mind-blowing, especially for different vehicles in this market. And when you compare it to the utility that you get with this car, against the midsize SUVs, which are kind of dominating the market right now, this is such a viable option at that point. But all in all, for everything that you get with this, from the heads-up display to a smart key that'll be able to back your car out of a parking spot if it's too tight, heated and cooled front seats, navigation system, a tremendously powerful 4-cylinder engine, and then just the build quality that's put into it, like the sound deadening materials and the solidness of the entire car. I really don't know another vehicle out on the market at this price point that's going to give you as much as you get with this Sonata. And I really think that this vehicle is going to be a game changer. And I think you're going to see a lot of people that were shopping the crossover SUV market really need to take a look at a car like this, because it's going to suit a lot of what they're looking for and getting a lot more for their money. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode 6. This is the 2021 Hyundai Sonata. Now, if you like what you're seeing, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and that thumbs up. It gives us help there too. If you have any comments or suggestions, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. My name is John Siebers with Roll Car Hyundai. Thanks for joining us out here, and stay tuned for episode 7 coming up next.